increased recently. And I kind of want to know, anybody who wants to take it, how much you think it's actually spread through the common populace versus just the elites, and how much it might actually represent a modality for any kind of economic, political, any globalization or anything.
You want to take two together? Or do you want to take one?
Yeah, why don't we take one last one? I saw your hand first.
Hi, I'm Young-Jun John in the college, freshman. I was just wondering if we should actually expect any reform in North Korea, because first of all, Kim Jong-un, he came in power at 29, which is younger than both his father and his grandfather. And just looking at the events in China in the past few weeks, with Hong Kong's election, Beijing sort of had some regrets over trying to pull the strings in an election. And Beijing itself, even within domestically in China, right now it's facing a big scandal with Bo Xilai. And North Korea might gain the impression that these are all problems that are a result of reforms, be it political or economic. So I was just wondering, realistically, if we should expect some more reforms under this new leader.
To your cell phone question in the back, I think a lot of it is obviously purchased by people who have money, right? So a lot of that could also mean the elites. But my presentation, I was also trying to make the point that money is being made by this sort of rising entrepreneurial class as well, right? So this 1% of the population who actually, or maybe a little bit more than that, who are actually engaging in these commercial activities, buying and selling, are making money and buying goods and quote-unquote luxury goods like cell phones, and some of them buy TVs and things like that. So I think it's more than just the elites. Obviously, a lot of the big percentage of it is going to be elites, but it's whoever has the money, and the money is not money enough to buy cell phones. It's not. It doesn't just lie within the elites anymore.
And on the cell phone, though, it's my understanding that you can't speak to anyone outside the country. You have to cross over the border into China in order to use a cell phone that can speak outside. So you can only talk within North Korea. That's an advance, but it's a limitation.
I agree that money is much more important than it was a few years back. And nevertheless, we need to keep in mind that North Korea's social classification system, Songbun, is still the precondition of access. Even those who make money, yes, things might not be as strict as they were a few years back, but even those making the money still need to pay for their access, and they gain that access from the people better, Songbun, basically. So that continues to play a role.
Not eliminated.
Right, it's not absolutely eliminated. So no one should get the wrong impression that this is some kind of a flourishing market economy where entrepreneurial spirit. These market mechanisms have not developed as the result of top-down reform. They're a coping mechanism that developed informally in the aftermath of the Great Famine of the 1990s in the Komanhei pretty much.
It's a reactive.
Yeah, I mean, I think the market mechanisms, again, it's not because of top-down reform, it's because of failure of the political system. That's why you have market mechanisms, right? The market mechanism grew out of famine, right? Because the government in the mid-1990s said, we can't provide any food for you. Go and fend for yourself, right? So people found anything they could find and tried to sell it for food. Right? And that's how you created a market mechanism in North Korea. And I agree with all the things that were said, but I also think, once any society starts going down this road, even for its elites, it's a slippery slope, right? Once they start going, they've introduced internet access into, this Pyongyang University Science and Technology thing for, certain faculty members and students, highly guarded, but once you start introducing this stuff, even at the elite and secure level, it's a slippery slope, right? It eventually starts to, I mean, if you think if there's any country in the world that would love the internet, it's North Korea, because you don't have to go anywhere. You can just get information through a portal. Right? I mean, they would love it. It's cheap, right? They would love this stuff. Right? So that's a slippery slope, and you can't, I don't think you can stop that once you introduce it. Which gets to the second point, which is that I think, and this is actually the main argument in the book, so you don't have to buy it, although it would make a great Easter gift. The main argument in the book is essentially this is, I mean, the challenge I see for the future is, on the one hand, you have this market mechanism and an independence growing out of the famine, right? Government failure that forced people to fend for themselves, and therefore they created more. You have that on the societal side happening.